right, so today I want to start off by thanking you guys for coming. Starting to feel it a little bit, but we're gonna read from. It was kind of short notice, like I said, so I didn't really know what to do this on. But since today was the 8th, and every day I read a proverb, I was thinking of doing it with Proverbs 8, and I'm gonna start with verse 10. I'm just gonna read it first, or if anybody wants to read, that'd be cool too as well. Also, if you guys want to ever say anything or anything like that, just kind of wave your hand and stuff like that, and I'll get to you as soon as possible. We usually go around and ask people how they feel about things, and you're more than welcome to throw in your 2 cents whenever you want. So I'm gonna start with Proverbs 8, verse 10. So it starts like this. Here we go. Receive my instruction, and not silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. For wisdom is better than rubies, and all things one may desire cannot be compared with her. I, wisdom, dwell with prudence and find out knowledge and discretion. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride and arrogance, and the evil way, and the perverse mouth I hate. Counsel is mine, and sound wisdom. I am understanding, I have strength. But by me kings reign, and rulers discreet justice. By me princes rule and nobles, and judges of the earth. I love those who love me, and those who seek me diligently will find me. Riches and honor are with me, enduring riches and righteous. My fruit is better than gold, yes, than fine gold, and my reverence than choice silver. I traverse the way of righteousness in the midst of the path of just, that I may cause those who love me to inherit wealth, that I may fill their treasures. All right. So I'm gonna go back to verse 10, and I want to go on how it starts. So verse 10 starts with an action. It says receive, take, choose, or accept. So we have a choice: accept wisdom or refuse it. It says by choosing wisdom, we have to continue to walk the walk and talk the talk. We have to open our hearts as our Lord and Savior has done for us. By sticking close to His word, we begin to recognize certain situations, evaluate these situations, and understand them. And eventually, when these situations come up, we'll have the ability to make our Father proud of us. Wisdom. Right? Anybody have anything on verse 10 that they want to throw in on there? No? All right. So we'll go down to 11. All right. It says, let me see. It says, I feel the fruit of wisdom is better than anything that we could ever possess. It says, or better than anything we could ever want. And the ultimate source of wisdom comes from Jesus Christ. Staying close to this book right here. Staying close to this book is where we gain our wisdom. It's all here for us, all in this book. Everything we need is right here. It'll make us better men, better husbands, better sons, better fathers, and that's all through the wisdom, just by reading this book. Anybody have anything they want to add on to 11? Feel free to, say what you got to say.
One thing is that I do pray and ask for is wisdom, for the pure reason, because sometimes we're confronted with situations and we may not know what to say or do. And Solomon, he asked for wisdom. He didn't ask for riches or, I need a new caddy or another gold necklace or anything like that. Uh, you know, he just wanted wisdom. And
Awesome.
and the Lord blessed him with that. And I think having wisdom is it's a powerful tool because it helps us understand more of His word, points us in the right direction, and has us a lot of times I like to listen to people talk, and you listen, the more you listen, and sometimes as believers we can get into a spiritual debate, which I don't like to. We're not supposed to argue the word of God. When we're in tune with the Holy Spirit, and someone comes at you with something, you should always be prepared, and that's where wisdom comes in.
Definitely. Hey, Derek, how you feel about wisdom?
I apologize for being so late, guys.
Nah, it's
I
all
just
good. Glad to have
got home from work, so I'm sorry. I'm catching up, but
So we're in Proverbs. We're going through chapter 8, verse 10 through 21. But we were just touching on we're touching right now on wisdom and the fruit of wisdom.
you said Proverbs chapter 8.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, well, I mean, I guess in the context of what we're even talking about, or even if we don't even go with the context of the Bible, right? We've always talked about in a lot of different things that experience, is worth more than book knowledge, right? A lot of jobs these days require a bachelor's degree, but that 21-year-old kid coming in with a bunch of book knowledge is not going to know the ins and outs like a 5-year veteran on the job, right? So that wisdom, I mean, personal experience, right? I came into a unit when I was in the Marine Corps, came into a unit. I don't know any of the guys, but I just graduated a leadership course. So, I walk in like the big dog on campus and everybody's like, we don't like this guy. He literally knows nothing, which by the book, I knew everything. But as far as how they operated, who they were as people, I had no idea. So I would say wisdom to me is definitely based on a lot of experience and being patient and being willing to learn. I think a wise person is willing to learn rather than a wise person being quick to speak.
Definitely. And how you feel about that?
I think that obviously wisdom is a virtue, and not everyone obtains it as you can through a family member or a name. You see people with all these nice cars and jewelry, and they lack the wisdom in certain things. And as it's clear, it is more precious than rubies.
Yeah.
And I feel like your spirit man and your knowledge and your wisdom are your we'll call them stripes. We'll call them stripes. They're your stripes. And that wisdom, as like Derek was saying, a wise person is a sponge and is willing to learn. And I think that that's like the foundation of wisdom.
Awesome. What about Kenny? You got anything, Kenny, or you just muted?
I got a little something. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. The only thing I got is wisdom doesn't come with an expiration date, whereas a lot of everything else that you're talking about, the the silver and the gold, the price goes up, price goes down. With wisdom, there is no up and down. Wisdom stays with what it is. For wisdom, you know, the best thing about wisdom is you always make the right decision with wisdom. So it can you imagine if that's worth more than any kind of gold or anything, because of the fact that you're making the right decision every time because you've got that wisdom with you. And so if you're that guy and you're always going to make the right decision, sooner or later it's going to lead over to everything else in your life, as far as when it comes to money, when it comes to the right person to be with. Can you imagine if you always made the right decision, you had that wisdom with you, you'd
Wow.
you'd be the king of the world. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, and even like further on, it talks about that too. As we go deeper into it, it digs into that too. Where and we're gonna get around to the part where people have all these flashy cars and all that. Those are just things of the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And
It's
they'll
really nothing.
expire.
At the
There's
end
an
of the day,
expiration date on it.
it
Right.
expires, and
Yeah.
that's deep. So I'm gonna continue on with verse 12. It says, I wisdom dwell with prudence and find out knowledge and discretion. Um, I kind of looked those words up, and
Hmm.
so what I got out of it is we have the choice to be cautious, disciplined, and understanding. You know, through wisdom. We make those cautious decisions.
Yeah.
We come to a point where we know what's right and wrong. We're all grown, grown men and grown women. We know
Right.
what the Lord expects of us, and now it's just up to us to make that
Right.
choice, whether we're gonna choose the Lord or choose the world, and that goes to all the rubies and all that. So I mean, for me, I choose wisdom. I choose, and the ultimate source is our Father who art in heaven. That's where we get our wisdom from. By reading and staying close to him, and the closer we get to him, the more wisdom we get. That's how I feel about that.
Right. The prudence part of that is knowing when to speak and when not to. So wisdom isn't always speaking up and saying something. Wisdom is also knowing when not to speak. And so prudence allows you the knowledge to know when to speak and when not to speak. That's what prudence is.
Definitely. So that goes with kind of like having the discipline of knowing, right? Of the discipline part of
exactly.
it and stuff.
That's discipline. Yep.
Yeah, it comes from. All right, and then so verse 13, it says, "The fear of the Lord is to hate evil." Fear of the Lord is to hate evil. Lord is to hate evil, pride and arrogance, and the evil way, and the perverse mouth I hate. So what I kind of got out of that is understanding the fear of the Lord. I feel like the fear of the Lord is more respect. I don't feel it as a fear, as like, oh, I'm scared of God, because I don't fear him. I know he loves me. I know he cares for me. I know he wants the best for me. What he wants for me is greater than anything that I could ever imagine. So I don't fear him in a way as fear is like, oh, I'm scared of this or scared of that. I'm not scared of him. I'm just, it's like the respect that I have for him and the obedience to him. The fear to me is more like I don't want to disappoint him or let him down after all that he's done for me. He's never let me down, even when I was deep in sin, so deep that I thought that I would never get out of sin. I thought that there was no hope for me. But even through those times, he was still there for me, and he never let me down. As I look back on those things, I could have been dead. I could have been incarcerated for the rest of my life. There's a lot of things I could have been, but through him having, you know, his mercy on me and never letting me down, like never letting go of me or just letting me be astray, man. It's like I feel that that's the least that I could do, you know. And I'm just so grateful that he had never did do that, you know. And it's man, it's a good thing, you know, that he'll never turn his back on you or lay you down or throw you under the bus. He's always going to be there, whether
Mhm.
you know you feel like he's not there, he's there, you know.
Hey,
So
I just want to say, your whole lesson is definitely about this here. You understand that the wisdom part. God gave you the wisdom to know that He doesn't want you to fear Him and just be scared and run away from Him. He wants you to reverence Him with that fear. The fear that He wants you to have is to have reverence, not just someone that's scared and running away from God all the time. So, you, my brother, are a very wise man because of the fact that you saw through the word fear and knew God doesn't want us just to fear Him and to run away from Him. So, amen to you. Amen,
thank
Mr. Wise Man.
thank you, Kenny. And
Only a wise man would have had Kenny's gumbo.
oh man, that gumbo. Off the topic, that gumbo, man. Oh man, that was something else, Kenny.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Uh,
You now, Pastor has the recipe for you, so you'll get
Hey, you
yeah.
know it's good when you got to open the windows.
it.
um, yeah. So with that being said, it's easy for me to not, you know, it's easy for me to to get rid of evil, man. Like that, it's not even in my heart no more. You know, I have a totally different heart now. I mean, even when people are on the freeway and you guys are in Vegas, I don't know if you guys have that same traffic problem like us, but there's people as soon as you get on the freeway that make you want to sin, you know. And
Yeah.
I've turned my heart in a different direction to where, man, because a lot of times we don't know what people are going through. You know, we just
Yeah.
assume things right off the top. You know, like or they're trying to hurt us, or they're trying to do us wrong, or something of that nature. But now you know, I don't know their situation. There could be an emergency. Their kids could be at home alone, or
Right.
that somebody in their family's hurt or something. So I mean, I just pray for them that I hope that they get to wherever they're going safe, and whatever is going on in their life, that God is with them and He has this, you know, that He covers them with the blood. And I just look at things in a different perspective now, you know. So all those evil thoughts that I used to have, they're like, I mean, just by what He's done for me, you know, it's like,
Mhm.
man, you know, it's the least, like, you know. So Kenny.
I gave Pastor Casey an exercise for freeway driving. You know, when you have people that are constantly cutting you off and everything, I tell them, hey, if that would just pretend that, that these people that are on the freeway that are cutting you off is your best friend. If if you're on the freeway with your best friend and they cut you off, you don't even give it a second thought. You're like, oh, that's my boy, whatever. And you let it go. But because of the fact that they're not your friend, you think that they've done the worst thing by slowing you down or cutting you off and stuff like that. If you pretend that they're your best friend, you let them slide. That's the best way to do it. Let them slide and let it go.
Definitely. So, all right.
Good
And then,
advice.
what's up? What's up, Javier?
No, I just telling Kenny that's good advice.
Mm-hmm.
I got you, Derek. Hey, Derek.
Yeah, I think that exactly the way that you described it, right? Um, it's not that God wants you to be afraid, you know, be very afraid because, you know, if you ever step out of line, you know, boom, I'm gonna smite you. That's not the fear of the Lord. And I put it in the chat, but I had a pastor describe it when I was growing up as a healthy respect, just like you would respect your earthly father, right? You know, and I feel like you kind of grow into that because at first, you know, when we're children, we respect our father, or we fear our father because, you know, you don't want to get popped. You don't want to do extra chores. You don't want to get your butt beat, right? You know,
Punishment, no punishment.
but as you know, I look at myself, 38 years old, you know, it's not that I am afraid of my father anymore, but you know, when he speaks, I listen because that's my father. I respect him. I respect what he has to say, you know, and I listen to what he has to say. And most of the time I do what he has to say, what he says, because that's my father. I respect him. I have a healthy respect for my father. And I look at it that way when it comes to God as well. I'm not saying that, you know, that he definitely could.
Definitely. Yeah,
But
definitely.
you know, that's not the type of fear that I have for my father. You know, my heavenly father, I have a respect for him. I see what he wants. And you know, when you have a God that says, I only have good things planned for your life, it's easy to want to serve him. It's easy to want to
Definitely.
respect what he has to say and listen and obey.
Definitely. Yeah, another thing for me that man, that just touches me, and I know that he is, like, he's there, is also that, man, just a group of people that he's put in my life. You know what I mean? All these brothers and sisters that I have, man, it's like, it just shows me that he's put these people in my life, and they're like, and they're solid. Like, I couldn't ask for nothing. Like, it's just a blessing, you know, for me.
Yep.
And I love it, man. Like, it's just, it's a whole new life. It's a whole new um, experience. But it's only through him, you know what I mean? And I'm just so grateful for that. And that's why, another reason that it's easy for me to turn my back on my old ways, and push forward in the ways of the Lord, you know, because he's just revealing himself to me, and showing me things, and you know, none of us are perfect. We're always we're always going through stuff. I have, um, whether it's a challenge at work or a challenge with my wife, but I try to turn to him, and then those times, and I'm starting to recognize more that when I do turn to him in those times, he gives me like patience, or just gives me a way out. You know what I mean? Opposed to, me reacting. It's amazing. And I feel like that's just because I read, and I'm learning how to be a husband. I'm learning how to be a father, and those things are helping me with my life. And it's just all his word. Nobody's ever taught me how to be a husband. I never knew how to be a husband. I mean, and I'll be the first one to admit it. I've been married going on 15 years now, and I'm barely being a husband, because now I know what's expected of me as a man of God. It's all here. He tells me what I need to know, and that's all his wisdom. It's the greatest wisdom ever. Um, that's it's just a blessing to have this book, and people, not just the book, and the people that help me, when I'm falling down, or just not even falling down, just to have those positive people around me in my life. It's amazing. And I thank God for it every day. It's something that I'm so grateful for. And it's just a blessing. Hey, Alex, how you feel about the fear?
I like what Derek said. As in the beginning, you hear your father in a way of, you don't want to get popped. And as you grow up, you listen to him, and you follow what he says. And but there is, with me personally, there still is that fear of, you know, my soul is in your hands, and it's a terrible thing to fall to the hands of the living God. So
Definitely. So, where were we at? We were on the fear. So we went to. I'm gonna go
14.
to. Oh yeah, 14. So 14. 14. Let me see, 14. All right, 14. Counsel is mine and sound wisdom. I am understanding, I have strength. So on that one, I kind of didn't I kind of wanted to touch up on that with you guys. What I kind of felt on that was counsel and judgment through his word, the Bible, and through Jesus Christ's life. Um, I really didn't get that too much. I started digging into it, and I went to Romans, and then I went to Isaiah 11:2, and I kind of felt that was a good one. But I was kind of Isaiah 11, yeah, Isaiah 11:1-2. Anybody there on Isaiah 11:1-2? Want to read that? Oh, yeah, Isaiah 11:2. It says, the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord. So I kind of felt like that verse kind of ties into everything that's going on in these few verses here. But I kind of really didn't like how it got counsel is mine. I really didn't understand that too well, you know. So I didn't have too much to say on that. Except that I referred it to Isaiah 11:2, and that all things are through him, like Jesus Christ's life. That's what I kind of got out of it. So then 16, 17, it says, I love those who love me, and those who seek me diligently will find me. So on that one, I kind of got stuck on that for a little bit. When we choose to love and seek wisdom, and our actions show it, the light of our fathers shines through us for people to know and see the light. It says the light will represent him and our choice to choose wisdom. And I felt like that was kind of like, he loves when he sees us doing his will, you know what I mean? And turning to him for the things that we're going through. And he'll represent, as we do those things, he'll shine, and people will shine and see what we're doing, and see that God is really, in us, and that he's working through us, and we're shining because of him, not because of us, because if it was up to us, we wouldn't be shining at all. What's up, Kenny?
What I want to say is, usually when I get this something I don't know, I always go and I look up the word like counsel. So the first thing you look at the definition, and it says advice or guidance, especially as solicited from a knowledgeable person. So it's counsel is soliciting from a knowledgeable person. So someone giving you guidance, good guidance. That's what they're saying. Counsel, good guidance is mine, and sound wisdom. So it's all the same, in the same ballpark, as in giving good guidance to people in your church that you're with.
Definitely. What's up, Derek?
I think that's a good way of looking at it, right? I mean, honestly, I find myself, I really like when you spoke about, being a husband, right? That I used to tell my dad, there's no book on how to be a husband, right? When I had my first kid at 21, I'm like, why is there no book on how to raise a kid? But I was talking to like Eddie and Chris and them the other day. I want to say it was very recently, and I'm like, man, it's crazy that. And I tell my wife now, I'm on my second marriage, but I tell my wife now, the book was always there. It was just lead with love, right? You hear people say that, lead with love, but I don't think they truly understand to the extent that I understand now, like through the love of God. And when you realize how much patience and mercy and grace that our Father has for us, it's so easy to deal with people now. It's so easy to deal with my wife. It's so easy to deal with my kids, because if, you know, if Jesus is instructing me to love you as he loves the church, then it's easy to love you. It's easy to be patient with you. It's easy to understand you when you're upset, or when you know, whereas before it was like, oh, I'm about to explode on everybody.
Yeah.
Here's the issue we have with marriages. We want to know what's in it for me every time. We when we do things for our wife, we want her to do things back for us, and that's not what God is saying. God is saying unconditional means that you're doing it just because. So there's got to be a lot more just because. If you do things just because, you don't expect anything in return. If she's doing the same thing on the other side, and that's where we get in trouble, is because of the fact that we start doing things just because, and she's not. And when she's not, we're now writing that down that she's not, but I am. And so it's easy for you to give up, and that's not the way to go. If you're going to be this guy that's going to be that guy, then be that guy. Be that guy that's giving, and regardless of how she reacts, still be that giving guy.
Not even an attaboy, Kenny?
What?
Not even an attaboy?
Not even that way. No, sir.
Pat in
Don't
the
expect
back?
that. Don't
Oh,
expect
it's the
that.
husband
Don't
of the
expect
year.
it.
You want the
Don't
husband of the
Pat
expect
in
year award or
the
what?
I look at that as well, because that was the, I want to say, like the cornerstone of my first marriage. And a lot of relationships up until my wife and I actually came back to God. Like, it was, well, I did this and I do this for you, and I don't understand why you can't do this. And I always say yes and you always say no, and that's not fair. And you know, we came to God and we love each other, and we find that we do things for each other now without even having to ask, or without even
There you go.
it being an
That's awesome.
issue, or you
There
know,
you
I
go.
just did this because I was thinking of, well,
Amen.
do you need me to do anything? No, I just did this for you. I don't want
Right.
anything.
Right.
That's awesome.
That's
That's awesome.
exactly it right there.
Let me take it.
That's- And then he also says to love your spouse as you love yourself. You know what I mean? And that one's kind of hard for me, because I don't know if I've ever gotten to that point where I've loved myself, because I haven't cared. Obviously, I didn't care about myself because of the things that I was doing. Um, so I'm still getting to understanding that part too. You know what I mean? Because um, yeah, I'm not too sure about like how I love myself. You know what I mean? I don't really. I've never. I could honestly say I never cared about myself because of the things that I put myself through. If I did, I would have never put myself through those things. You know. Um, so that I kind of have a hard time with that. But I mean, I do love. I guess I do love myself. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I have to. You know what I mean? Like I
Right.
just.
Right.
I don't know, but I guess I care about my wife and I love her. I just gotta figure out the part about myself, about loving myself, because that's a hard one, man. I just I didn't care so much that now I don't understand that part, you know?
You know, I think today I had to go see a nutritionist. And I know me and Marty, we were talking today. I think we kind of went over that a little bit in Ephesians.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
the way I can describe it is, and might get a little emotional here, but forgive me.
All good.
Going through something right now, and I think what I'm learning is, I went to go see a nutritionist today because of my levels, my cholesterol and everything, and then I started thinking, she's giving me all this list of the things to eat. And I think to love yourself is when you start taking care of yourself. But to love your wives as you love yourself is to take care of her.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
That's good, Javier.
That's
Yeah.
good, Javier. I like it.
And I've neglected that.
Well, at least you recognize it, Javier. That's all that matters. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
As long as you recognize it now. Now you got to work on it. That's it. Don't feel what's done is done, dog. You can't take back what's
Right.
done. We're already past that. Now we got to push
100%.
forward.
Yep.
And-
Yep.
You know, if you love yourself and you start eating the right things, exercising, the same time I was sharing with Marty today, in Ephesians chapter 5, where it talks about how the husbands ought to love their wives. And it's a touchy subject right now because of what's going on. And I've fallen in so many ways in that area. And it's my first wife, and we've been married 41 years. And a lot of ups and downs, probably more downs than ups. And I'm sorry, guys. So one thing that I can honestly say is that she has put up with me in so many areas of my falling short. And I called Casey today and I shared with him a little bit. So anyway, you guys, I think as fellas and as men of God, we should be accountable to each other.
Mhm.
Because we are the spiritual leaders of our family, and whenever sometimes we're not there, we fall short. Sometimes our wives won't trust us and think, as they should, and look to us for wisdom and things that we're supposed to do as men of God.
Mhm.
We could always do them, Javier. It's never too late, man. That's why we just
Exactly.
gotta, the closer we get to God, man, he's gonna help us with that. It's not gonna be a problem for us
Right.
no more. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be an
Right.
issue.
Right.
We can't look at that no more. That's done. That's already buried. That's done.
Right.
We just gotta push forward and stick to the word, man. That's all we gotta do. That's it, you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
And it'll all fall in place, man. You know, everything's up and down, you know. We're never gonna be on that like perfect road, you know what I'm saying? It's always gonna get a little rough, but you
Right.
just gotta get out of that roughness. That's it. And once you overcome that, you'll be good. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And there's been a lack of trust, and I gotta go to bed at night and wake up in the morning. I hope it's a better day, and sometimes it's
Man, I'm gonna tell you, I've told you before, Javier, what works for me is I I I can't express myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really too good at expressing myself to my
Mhm.
wife.
Mhm.
I've messed up so much, and the trust and all that. That's all out it was out the window and stuff like that. But now, when I wake up in the morning, I go over there and I pray for her, and I say the things that I can't say to her, and she hears those things.
Mhm.
I thank the Lord for her. I thank the Lord for everything she does for me. I thank the Lord for
Mhm.
bringing her in my life, and
Mhm.
just because I can't say those things directly, she's hearing them through me praying for what I'm grateful for. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that's
Mhm.
helped me out a lot. You know what I mean? Um, and now it's just my actions on the things that I do now. Now that I'm working on that, now I'm pushing forward, and now I gotta like walk the walk now. You know what I mean? I'm talking the talk. Now I gotta walk the walk. You know. So now that I've said those things, now I have to show that I'm grateful, how I'm grateful, or doing little things, or how I forgot who it was that was saying it. Oh, it was Derek. How he says, oh, he just does them just because. Now those
Right.
are the things that I'm working on now. You know what I mean? Doing little things and showing my appreciation. Now I have to show it. Now that I've spoken it, now I gotta show it. Yeah, I gotta put it in
Okay.
motion.
Okay, I got a question. How
Yeah.
come you can say it in prayer, but you can't say it to your wife?
It's just, you know, I guess it goes along with all the, like, I guess I was this hard person, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't have no emotion. I didn't have no
Okay.
love. I didn't have none of that. You know what I'm saying? And that's
Yeah,
why,
but your wife knows who you really are. You know that. She knows you exactly who you are. You don't have to placate to her. You don't have to pretend you're tougher than you are with her. She knows
oh,
exactly who you are.
yeah, yeah.
So you don't have to do any of that. So when you come home, you don't have to put this mask up and try to make her believe you're tougher than you are. No, you just have to talk to her. Why
Yeah.
don't you want to talk to her? Why do you say it in prayer? You can't say it to her face is what I'm asking.
Yeah, that's the thing. I never really like I was never really taught those things, like how to, you know what I mean? Like how to talk.
There's no teaching. You don't have to be taught that. You
Yeah.
have your wife, you know what to say to her. You know what she wants to hear you say.
I
Just
think
if you need to go buy flowers or just buy one rose and bring one rose to her and say what you want to say to her, just with the one rose.
That's awesome. Yeah, those are things
And
like I said. What's up,
Go ahead,
Derek?
Derek.
kind of
Light
back
him up,
you up.
Derek.
Well, no, honestly, to kind of back you up, Marty, I am an amazing writer. I've been an amazing writer since I was 13 years old, you know, and I could write my wife the most beautiful love letters or emails, and, that just lights up her life. But then, like, sometimes she'll be like, hey, I love you. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
love you too, babe. You know,
Right.
throughout the day, I've sent her like, oh, your eyes are like the stars
Yes.
and
Yep.
you're the moon and all of this. But like, face
Get
to
all
face,
Shakespeare throughout the day. Yeah.
right? But
My,
like
I,
sometimes verbally, and I can agree with Marty on that as far as verbally, and I'm
you get a little
working on it
challenge.
with my kids as well. Like I wasn't taught that. I was taught a whole lot of, you
Be
know,
tough. Be a tough
yeah,
guy.
Boys don't cry, boys don't
Right.
have these feelings, boys don't do
Right.
that. You better stop with all that soft stuff. So,
Right.
it's hard as an adult now. I look at my kids and I kid you not, when they were little, they'd want to hug me. Oh, daddy, daddy, daddy. I'm like, get off me. But that was what I was taught. My dad
Right.
was not a lovey-dovey
Right.
person.
Not a hugger. You're not a hugger.
Right.
Yes, I know.
So, but
I
like
know.
now they'll hug me and I'm just like, oh, tap, tap, it's a hug back. And I still get like itchy, but I'm learning, I'm growing.
Yeah, I don't think is that I just like, not that I don't know or I can't. It's just that it's the way I was brought. Like, I was always, and
Right.
I'm not
No,
trying
I
to
know.
be tough. I'm not trying to be tough with my wife because I love her. Like, and I tell her these things.
No, I
It's
know.
just that certain actions of the things that happened before in the past are like, she kind of, you know what I mean? I have to kind of more prove now that 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 I am for real. You know what I'm saying? Because my actions before weren't showing that I was for real. You know what I mean? I was out all night. You know what I mean?
Right.
And not that there was cheating involved and stuff like that, but there was a
No.
lot of just trust issues. You know what I'm
Absentee.
saying?
You were absentee.
Yeah, I'm not coming home. You know what I mean? I'm coming
Right.
home
Just
at
an
4 or 5 in
absentee.
the morning, smelling like
Yeah.
alcohol.
Absentee. There you
Just
go. Absentee. Just
bad
absentee
choices.
husband. Right.
Yeah. So now that I'm doing that, it's like that I have to do as a husband, as the man of the house,
Mhm.
as being a believer. Like, these are the things that I have to do, you know what I mean? And those are the things that I'm working on, and I like how Casey says, just take one thing and work on that one thing till you
Yep.
complete that thing, and then more,
Right.
you can't just stack up
Occasionally.
all these things and just
Right.
start. Nah, you got to complete one task first and then move on to the next one,
Do
and
the
that's
dishes once in a while.
yeah. I
That's
do
it.
that,
That's it
Kenny.
right
I
there.
do that.
Do them
I haven't.
dishes.
I've always done that. I do that, Kenny.
We had a rule that if you cook, you don't have to do the dishes.
Uh-huh.
And I have, I used to stick by that, and I would make the dinner and then all the dirty pots and everything, just leave it all piled up, and then go sit down on the couch and let them plow through. And God has changed me to where I wash the dishes while I'm cooking, because that's the way my wife does it.
Yeah.
And then when dinner's done, the only thing you got is just rinse the plates off, put them in the dishwasher, and it's done.
That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you know,
I've learned that one too. I learned that one too, where she does I seen how she washes the dishes while she's cooking, and I'm
right,
starting to pick that up too, you know.
right,
But
right.
yeah, just like you said, little things, you know, like, and not that I'm like, oh, you know, now I'm trying to figure out how to be soft. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Soften it
I've
up
been
a little
hard.
bit.
I've been hard all my life. Now,
Right.
46 years later, I'm trying to be soft. You know, it's
Right,
kind of, you know.
right.
But
And
it's
she appreciates that.
yeah,
She appreciates you doing that. You making an effort. Make an effort and do
definitely,
something. Like
definitely.
my wife has a certain way she likes to do the laundry. I can never do I can't. She won't allow it at all. I mean, even if I want to help her, no, get out of here. Leave it alone. So I try to do laundry. She won't let me. So you know, she don't want everything turning pink.
No, I heard a guy once,
funny.
I don't know if it was a pastor or I forget where I heard it, where he said his wife is his best friend. And I thought about that. How many of us could say, my wife is my best friend? And when you say something like that, think about the things you would tell your best friend,
Mm-hmm.
your wife.
Yeah.
If I'm going through something, I know I could share it with my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
But can I share it with my wife?
Yeah. Yeah. You should be able to.
Can we?
Yeah. Yeah. My wife used to get mad at me because she would say I'm sharing too much. She would hate that I would tell her everything, and so she's like, you ain't gotta tell me all of that. I'm like, what? If we're best friends, because she was the one that came up with that, because I never heard of that before, you know. And it was one day when we were fighting, and we were dating. We were just dating at the time, and then I can't remember what I said. I said, why? And then she said, because you're my best friend. And that hit me right in the heart. I was like, oh. So from then on, we were best friends. And I told her everything. So yeah, you can make your wife your best friend. It's just you have to make the decision if you're someone that can be an open book and tell her everything.
Definitely.
Little thought there.
Yeah, so that but it's never too late, Javier. Never too late, man.
Nope.
You know, never too late. You just you know, and that's what we're here for, man. This is part of wisdom too, man. We're picking up from each other, man. We're learning like on how we should be and
This is your counsel. This is your counsel. Your verse 14.
yeah.
Yeah, Derek said a lot of good things. You know.
Derek is the man.
Derek always has something good to say, man. He's an
Yeah, he
uplifting
does.
man right there, man.
He's
He
a
always
good guy.
got
I can tell he's a good guy.
I'm exactly what you guys pointed out earlier. I forget who said it, but wisdom isn't always making the right choices, right? Wisdom is falling down and continuing to get back up.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I just happen to have experienced a lot of failures in my short time. And so
we all
you know,
have.
and exactly. And I can agree with Marty as far as like this being you know, the buzzword now, the safe space, this being my safe space. I can talk to you. And you know, and as far as you know, to piggyback off of Javier, there are certain things that I don't feel comfortable talking to my wife about. But that's because one, I've been conditioned that way, you know, and that's not through upbringing, that's just through experiences I've experienced. Okay, well, I shared this and now I'm a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, because, you know, for example, previous relationships, I was very bad at, fidelity, right?
Mhm.
So, I had partners, multiple,
Mhm.
that would tell
Mhm.
me, when you're feeling these urges, talk to me.
Mhm.
So, I talk to you maybe once or twice. I mean, you're still telling me, well, why do you still feel this way? I can't believe you, I've done this and that for you. And it's like, okay, but I'm still human and I'm still this is something I'm struggling with. So I thought you said it was safe to talk to you. So, I wound up shutting down a lot.
Well,
And
yeah, that's a little rough. That one, yeah,
it's
I
rough, but
totally
it's
agree.
it's a real experience, right? And you can
It
take that
is.
experience to I spend too much money, I drink too much, I smoke
Mhm.
marijuana, whatever case it
Mhm.
may be,
Mhm.
but I will say, to play, actually just speaking through experience, as me and my wife have grown in Christ, things have gotten better. I'm able to speak to her and say, hey, I'm having this urge. And it may not, be as bad as, hey, man, I'm thinking about this chick at work. Woo! It could just be like, man, one of our other arguments was overspending. Like, hey, I'm having this urge. I really want to go buy this thing. And she's like,
Mhm.
okay, well, let's talk about it. That's a really great thing you want to buy, but maybe not right now. You're not a
Right.
bad husband for wanting to spend this money because you
Right.
work for it. But
Right.
let's make a plan for, a month or two from now. And it's
Yeah.
those kind of things I enjoy with her now. So we're
Yeah.
opening up. It's just been a learning process.
Exactly. That's good. And
Definitely.
that's good.
Yeah.
Those are solutions. It's good to come up with solutions.
Definitely.
Can I ask the fellas something? If you have certain struggles, would you be open to share with your wife? And would you be either afraid of her response and that would hold you back from sharing with her, or trying to tell her struggles are? Does that make sense?
Okay. If you're talking about you have a struggle to where you are sinning, or are you having a struggle with something that's not a sin?
Yes, the first one.
Struggles with the sin, then yeah, you need deliverance from that, and she should be your anchor that helps you to get you delivered from that sin.
But if you know she's gonna react a certain way, because I know, I already know. Does that make sense?
Mm, I mean, kinda. I kind of get what you're saying, but I'm more inclined to getting you deliverance from whatever the sin is, and then being able to tell your wife.
I know how
You're.
she's.
It sounds like, and you're saying in that's a problem, and
If
you're a little upset that she won't help you get out of the sin. And so my dilemma with you is, do you really want to be delivered from this sin? Are you actively seeking deliverance, or are
I
you
shared with Casey,
expecting her to be the one that helps you get delivered?
I shared with Casey, but my point is, this is why I brought it up. I would love it to where I can say, okay, let's just say it's drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Babe, I have this urge to go buy a bottle of tequila.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna, oh, no, what? I thought you were, no, and I'd have to hear the yelling and the put downs. So I want to be where I can feel comfortable saying, again, if she was my best friend, or if I had a best friend, which I really don't, hey, dude, you know what? I've really been going through this right now. And, oh, really, man? All right. Well, hey, let me pray for you. Whatever. I,
Mm-hmm.
I, I'm not open like that with her because I can't be.
Mhm.
I can't.
But again, I'm hearing that you don't desire the deliverance part. That
Sure.
I know that she's putting you down, but I don't hear the part where the deliverance, you're striving for deliverance. And I hear you, hey, I'm weak and I occasionally need this drink. And because she's not somebody that's supporting you, you feel more inclined that the more of the problem is that she's not a supportive person than you trying to get delivered from that is what I'm saying. I don't see you doing anything that's going to deliver you because of the fact that you have a problem with the alcohol. It's not going to get better by drinking alcohol. And so I would more like to see you working to get a solution with the alcohol, and then
Yeah.
for the white part, not being the support. I mean, she's just the voice of reason on the way other side. You know what I'm saying? She's the extreme side of you shouldn't be doing this, and this is why you shouldn't be doing it. And she's right, but nobody wants to be preached to. That's the problem. You don't want to hear the preaching. You want to hear the support where, oh, it's okay. We can get through this together.
Yeah.
And so you're not getting that support from her is what I'm hearing.
I would say, isn't that the purpose of marriage, to support each other through, through struggles? That's why, we made these vows. I haven't read anywhere in the Bible where these vows were, but for better, for worse, sick,
Mm-hmm.
poor, sickness and
Mm-hmm.
health, I
Mm-hmm.
said sick, poor, rich, poor, sickness
Mm-hmm.
and health. And
Right.
like I said, that goes back to um it goes back to the example that I gave. I tell you my secret, my darkest secret, right? I tell you my urge because, you guys brought up a good point. If I look at my wife as my best friend, I can tell my best friend all day. I've got two buddies and two
Mm-hmm.
brothers that I talk to at least once a week. My brother's
Mm-hmm.
way more often, but I can tell them everything sun up,
Mm-hmm.
sundown, and not have any fear of judgment. And I think that's the part that kept me away from talking to my partner a lot of times, because it came down as judgment. And I'm not asking you to support me in my habit, but don't judge me either, because one, kind of like Jesse Duplantis said, it's not our position to judge. That is God's position alone. It's our position to love.
Right.
And I do agree with you, brothers, as far as holding each other accountable. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I can hate the sin
Mm-hmm.
and love the sinner, right? I can
Mm-hmm.
tell you, hey, drinking is probably not the solution here. But I
Right.
don't have to come, as Javier said, and I'm only speaking from my own experience as well. I don't have to come at you and be like, oh, you're a piece of
You're a
work
sinner.
for, wanting to
Right.
drink, man. I can't believe
Right.
you got this
Right.
beautiful home, this family, this and that. And
Right.
like where I can agree with you that I shouldn't want to be able to tell my wife, hey, I'm having these urges, and have you basically coddle me through it, but I don't need
Right.
you judging me either. And
Right. Right.
that's
Right.
where I feel like it comes down to the feeling of, I don't want to tell you because I know you're gonna just dog me out,
Mm-hmm.
and then I have to eat it, and I have to basically I have to agree with you because, as you said, Kenny, they are words of wisdom. It is the right thing to do,
Right.
but man, like, you're supposed to be my best friend. You're supposed to be in my corner and like
Right.
love me
And that
through this versus judge me
100%.
through it.
Right. Right. My whole thing was that's on the extreme end of that, and so you don't need that extreme end of that. You need someone that's more so a moderate than someone that's a conservative is what you're looking for, and and it's hard to get that moderate wife. I'm just telling you, she's gonna be on that that conservative side of things. She's going to be the extreme right person. That hey, this is
Boy,
the right way to do it. And so you should be doing this. This is what you should be doing. And anything less than that is not acceptable. That's the problem that you have. Yeah. So
Okay, so
I totally understand.
I think we're kind of running short on time right here. So we're gonna do some prayer requests before we get out of here. I'd like to pray for Omar, who's getting ordained today out there in Las Vegas. I'd like to throw a prayer in for him.
All right.
I'll have. Is there anybody else that has any prayer requests out there?
Yeah, continue with my marriage, and where I'm just leaving it at the throne of Christ.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else, Javier?
Javier. Yeah.
We
Javier.
got you, Javier. We already know what you want.
Yeah. Yeah. He wants a best friend.
Love you,
Yeah.
man.
We got you,
Love
Javier.
love
All
all
right,
you.
so I'm gonna have what you got there.
Just an added prayer for my brother. 2 weeks ago, my sister was. I'm trying to get my brother. Prayer for my brother these days. You know, you guys, and if he likes it.